Oh, good morning, you boring lot. Let's make a start, shall we? The Champions League final has been settled. It will be Arsenal versus Paris Saint-Germain. And I have to be honest, for me, it's the final I would have chosen. It's the final I would have wanted. I know that we've got demons in our closet when it comes to Bayern Munich. But for me, if I'm choosing a team currently to meet in the Champions League final, it's going to be Paris Saint-Germain. I think they are fantastic going forward. We are good going forward. I think we are fantastic defensively. I think they are good defensively. And I think it's going to be a clash of cultures. It's going to be a clash of styles. It's going to be a clash of experience. And it's going to be a clash of wannabe winners versus a team that have succeeded in Europe finally, because it took Paris Saint-Germain long enough to get themselves a Champions League winners trophy, didn't it? So it's exciting times, but we have to believe. And actually, the semi-final itself, the second leg for PSG and Bayern Munich was pretty. Was almost a bit drivel, wasn't it? And it's funny because of the criticism that Arsenal received and Atletico received because of their semi-final, but actually the second leg of the Bayern semi-final was quite similar. It was strong defensively, some good attacking football, and ultimately the game ended in a draw, and it was 1-1 to finish and to take PSG through to the final. Look, I have to be honest. I believe that Arsenal will get the job done, and I believe that Arsenal will go on to become Champions League winners this year. And I suppose, and there's a part of it where you could say, "Hey, Rob, you're just deluded," but for me, I just believe that we can get it done. I believe that we are going to be good enough to get the job done. And if that happens, I am going to be an absolute nightmare. I can't lie. I am going to be an absolute shambles. I'm going to be annoying. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be in the way should Arsenal get the job done against Paris Saint-Germain. But that's just me. But I'm sure I won't be alone. I'm pretty confident that I won't be alone should we get the job done. So why? So why do I think that we can do them? Well, based on what I've already said, I think we are a better defensive unit than them. I think that when they come up against our defence, we can defend from the front. Our players can drop in quite well, and then we can press high. And I just think that we will. I think we'll suffocate them, if I'm being completely honest. And I think that will make it very difficult for them to play. They are wonderful on the break. They play wonderful slicing football that's going to make it very difficult for our defenders. But we have a goalkeeper who is very good off the line. And I just think that we will be too much for them. Also, when we played them last season, our XG overall across the three fixtures was better than us. A fixture in May, I think our XG was something like 3. And their XG was 1.2. We lost that game, but I also think that we were better than them across the two fixtures, and I think that we will show that against them when we meet them in the final on Saturday, the 30th of May. Good morning to you, David. Good to see you, my friend. Just a quick one this morning because I am going to be streaming again later, but I will be talking about that towards the end of this stream. So yes, David, it'll be interesting to see your thoughts as well, mate. Do you think that we've got enough to be beating PSG in the final of the Champions League? For me, I'm in. I think we get it done. I think that we will come through by hook or by crook, or maybe we will surprise them with some, I don't know, prime Barca football. But I really believe that Arsenal will win the Champions League this year. And maybe it's self-delusion, but what's the point otherwise, right? One of the other reasons, I've been talking about reasons why I think we're going to beat them. I've talked about the defense. I've talked about our XG against them last year. This is meant to be a free-flowing Paris Saint-Germain, and we out PSG them. We out XG them last year. And also, one of the differences I think this year is that we have a party regen who's actually going to be able to play. Party got himself banned last year, couldn't play in one of the legs. And I think ultimately that cost us. This time, I think MLS will be available for both fixtures, and I think I would be playing him in both fixtures. And I think with the pivot of Miles Lewis-Skelly and Rice, I think will be too strong for them in the midfield. 100% the motivation of revenge, alongside the signs that we are hitting some form. We have to believe, and yeah, isn't it good that Arsenal are actually hitting form come the end of the season, and especially after especially now that April is out the way and we can enjoy May. And Arsenal do look much better, and they have, in fairness, I think, looked better since Man City. I was more confident that we would win the league after Man City than I had been in months. And we lost that game, So I really think that there is something building for the remainder of the season, and I think there'll be a lot of teams struggling to stick with us. One of the questions I wanted to just put out to you guys is, do you think Saka wanted PSG, or do you think he wanted Bayern? Which one? Because he said in the interview, deep down who we want. Do you think he got who he wanted? Do you think he got PSG because he wanted PSG, or do you think because he wanted to right the wrongs of 20 plus years of Bayern Munich banter? Or do you think that actually he wanted to get his revenge on PSG for last year? I think he'd be looking at PSG and thinking they're more beatable than Bayern Munich. Well, that's the way I look at it anyway. Good to see you, Brian. Thank you. I am. Do you know what, mate? I'm doing well this morning, and I'm actually really pleased with the outcome yesterday. You got the personal side of me would have loved to have got to kind of lay the Bayern feud to rest, but the revenge for last year, and if we beat PSG, I think we beat Inter in the final. I'm really pleased that it's PSG, and I think Arsenal can better them. But that's just my opinion. So I don't know who Saka would have wanted, but I would like to think that he would have wanted PSG, because I just think that there's a part of Arsenal that feel that they can get at PSG, But I wouldn't change anything about the Arsenal lineup for that. I wouldn't change anything. So I would be keeping the same lineup. Basically, I would not be changing this lineup for the rest of the season, right? Maybe you can switch out Calafiori and White for Hincapié and Mosquera, but other than that, I don't expect to see Timber for the rest of the season. Other than that, I am pretty much keeping this lineup for the remainder of the season. I wouldn't change what isn't broken. Arsenal playing their most fluid football. Does it mean that they are at times gettable? Yes, because we've got creative players who we are allowing to lose the ball. Eze is, we accept that Eze can do a madness, but we also accept that he can lose the ball. Gyökeres is doing a really good job at holding the ball up front, but we can accept that he can lose the ball. MLS may go awry with a pass because he takes dare. He's daring. He takes out their passes. He puts himself at risk. But we've got players who might lose the ball, but we've got players who might score you 3 or 4 goals in a game as well. So I really like this setup, and this is what I would be using for the rest of the season. And then I would be using the likes of Havertz and Odegaard to finish a game. They are finishers now, and I wouldn't be using them as starters for the remainder of the season. This is what I would want to see from Arsenal. What are your thoughts on that? Good morning to you, Brian. It's nice to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here. I'm very well. I think PSG, I'm glad we ain't facing Kane. He always loves to go against us. He was really upset after the game as well. Did you see that? Where he's kind of looking at him thinking that was probably it. That was probably my chance. He scored 55 goals this year. Like, what more could he have done? I think, and actually across the two semi-final fixtures, I think he had 2 clear shots and he scored 2 goals. One of them was a penalty, obviously, and then one of them was that late goal yesterday. But other than that, I feel like he was a little bit underutilized by his teammates across both legs. Or maybe PSG did a number on him defensively. I think, but for him, he must be looking at it and thinking that was my chance to win a Champions League trophy, and it may have just passed me by. And, Arsenal won't be favourites going into this final, but I genuinely think we'll do them. Like, I do. And I don't mind having to sit here on the 1st of June and having to hold it, because I really do believe that we can beat them. I do believe that. Let me just come out of this picture real quick. Good. He's definitely rotating this weekend. Havertz, Mosquera, Zubimendi, Martinelli, Madueke, Hincapié will all start. Why, though? It's not beyond the realms of possibility, but why? We haven't got another game for a week after that, and then a game for another week after that. There is absolutely no reason to rotate now. There's none. We've got 4 games left this season. In West Ham, Burnley, Palace, and then PSG, and they're all a week apart. There is absolutely no reason to rotate this squad unless you are worried about injuries. Like, there is enough of a gap now. I would not want to see him rotate in this squad. I really think that he should stick with this squad. I don't see why there would be a need for rotation. I just don't see it, because we're not playing every 3 days now. And even when we were playing every 3 days, he wasn't rotating the squad, was he? Big up, mate, and chat. Hope you're well. Good to see you, Chris. Thank you for being here, my friend. Yes, I'm well. Just doing a little review on PSG. This isn't going to be a long stream today, because I am going to be streaming a little bit later, and I'll explain that. I'll hit you up about that towards the end of this one. Brian, I reckon Saka wanted PSG to show another pyramid team can beat PSG in a knockout match. Touche. Look, I mean, the thing is with PSG is, and the thing, I don't even have that much animosity towards PSG apart from the obvious stuff, right? But we were, I feel like we were better than them all 3 times last year. I really, and you know, I hate stat padding, right? Or I hate trying to hide behind stats, but Donnarumma was incredible in those semi-final fixtures last year, and that's why ultimately he was recognised as the best goalkeeper in the world. Man City went for him, and all those types of things. Like, knock-on effect is crazy, right? But make no mistake about it, Donnarumma is the reason they made the final. After that, PSG did PSG things and absolutely dismantled Inter Milan. And I think Arsenal would have done the same to them if they'd made the final as well, right? But my words, Donnarumma was incredible. I've already mentioned previously that the XG was like 3 and PSG's was 1, right? Donnarumma was incredible. And fair play to him. But I think we have that. I believe that we could have PSG's number, and the goalkeeper they have currently is not as good as Donnarumma. He flaps at crosses, he flaps at corners. You know, that's the type of thing where, you know, Gabriel's going to be licking his lips. You know, that meme of that man who's licking his lip behind the tree or whatever it is. Like, that's going to be Gabriel looking at their goalkeeper. And I think we'll have their number. I think we might have to hold a couple, but we might have to go toe to toe. But I think we'll have the goalkeeper's number at least, you know. The reason is it's Arteta. Which part? Sorry, I don't know if I've sort of monologued for too long and now I've lost which bit you're talking about. But which part are you talking about with reference to Arteta? Good morning and happy Thursday to you. Good to see you, Chidril Harebomb. Yep. I'm feeling good, man. I hope you are well, and I hope you're looking forward to the weekend, because the weekend could be very significant, couldn't it, this weekend? Of course, you should believe you can beat PSG. It's a final thing can happen. I still think PSG will win the final, but don't know why people think it's going to be straightforward. Yeah, I mean, look, PSG have been good, but I don't think when Arsenal have played them, they've been massively better than Arsenal, and PSG will be aware of that. You know, like PSG did not push over Arsenal, you know. So I think Arsenal will be going into the game quite confident, actually. I think they would be more concerned about playing Bayern Munich. There's a lot more history there as well. But I think Arsenal will be a lot more confident about playing PSG than they would playing Bayern. Oh, rotating players. Yeah. I mean, look, there's no reason to rotate players now between now and the end of the season. There's no reason. You can keep the same team, bar injuries, because there's a massive gap between each game now. And this team is proven to be more fluid, more direct, and more aggressive, while still being defensively quite solid. And so I wouldn't be changing too much about this team at all. Chris, PSG vulnerable defensively, just their keeper. He's awful. You can target him on set pieces. Yeah, I agree. And I also don't think their defense is better than Arsenal's. One of the things I've said before is offensively, they are superior to Arsenal, but defensively, they are not close. And so that's why I think it will be quite a good game. And I think that Arsenal will be able to have them. There's some good things that have come out of Arsenal this week. I'm a Brentford fan on Saturday. Listen, Everton was not their hardest remaining fixture. It was Brentford or Bournemouth, and they've got to play both of them still. So who knows what could happen this weekend? We could be talking on Sunday or Monday morning, and saying, my words, Arsenal have got a clear gap here. They're going to win. They could potentially win the league against Burnley on the following Monday. And if they do, I'm going to be going down there Monday. Like I'm not going to get in, but I will be there somewhere, breathing it in, man. Like I will find a way to get there. When was the last time we scored a set piece? Oh, mate. Do you know, All you need to worry about is when is the next time we score a set piece, and it will be in a Champions League final, my friend. There is absolutely no reason for rotation. Arteta knows that. Completely agree. There should be no rotation between now and the end of the season because the gap is big, and those players can be rested, and they are working to a fantastic system right now that works. And Gyökeres is in the game. He's scoring goals. He could finish the season with a minimum of 25 GA with the rate that he's going. He might even get to 25 goals, and if he does, what a signing! Player of the season, signing of the season for Arsenal, but maybe the Premier League signing of the season as well. Just a couple of positives as well that I wanted to mention. Marino is back in training. Whether or not that means he gets to feature before the end of the season, I don't know, but it is wonderful that a player that has been so important for us and a player that we massively missed in those dry months where it was really a struggle to get anything over the line, let alone try and finish off the league title early. A player that we've massively missed. So it's great to see that Marino is back in training. Unlikely that he will have anything to do with the rest of the season, but at least he's back in training and making a shift to try and at least be available for something. Maybe he'll be available and on the bench for the Champions League final. Again, unlikely, but it's great to see that a player like him, his aura, he hasn't missed a beat at Arsenal apparently because he's in the leadership team and he's been there all the time. So it's wonderful that, he might get a shot at doing something at the end of the season. I just wanted to share this picture with you guys. I am still talking about the... Good to see you, my friend. Dark Side, missed you, my man. I saw what you text me this morning. I'll get to that. Let me finish some of my points here, and then we will. I'm sick of people not being able to read. I'll let you add context to that. All right, because I'm not sure if I know what you mean. England is scared to the bones because of us. Oh, scarred to the bones because of us. You're going to have to explain what you mean there. I'm a bit confused. But yes, but did anyone see this? It did make me chuckle. Don't know if you can see it here, but this is after the semi-final with PSG with Atletico, and there's a little video of Simeone walking over the Arsenal badge, and it just made me chuckle because he was clearly so frustrated after last week with Ben White that Arsenal planted that as well, because that's not normally there, is it? I don't think, the Arsenal flag, and he had a little walk across the Arsenal badge, which did make me chuckle a little bit. But c'est la vie. What else is there? Oh yes. What's he saying here? England is scared to the bones because of us, because we could do the double. England is so petrified. Oh, I see what you mean. So other English fans. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, I'm going to talk to you about media in a bit towards the end of this stream. But my God, the media has been an absolute nightmare this week. I've heard some drivel and I have heard some nonsense. And it's just embarrassing, mate. It's just embarrassing. When he sulked across the badge, Don Berta got to him. It was so funny. I didn't see it until yesterday. Someone shared it, and I was like, absolutely brilliant. Simeone walking out with the only power he's got left, and that is to walk across the badge just to kind of throw some shade. It did make me chuckle. The context is I made a stream this morning about the Conkeys not caring about trophies, and people are saying stop blaming Arteta. I said in the video 70 times it's not an Arteta out video. Did you do Daily Dark Side? I'm sorry, man. 7 o'clock is going to be. I didn't even know. And the thing is, right, I've got you on notifications, and it never comes up to notify me that you are doing anything. And sometimes I get a notification of your shorts, but it comes down like 24 hours later, and I'm like, I don't understand. So I need to look at that because I miss your streams and it's annoying. But yeah, look. In principle, I actually agree with you. I think I said this in the text I sent you as well. So for those of you who don't know, I've got five people in the chat right now. Good to see you guys. Just please make sure that you've liked so that the video can get out there. That would be amazing. And if you're new, subscribe. But Darkside sent me a text last night. I was in bed by then. Basically, the talks for Arteta's new contract have been going on since March, irrespective of whether he wins a trophy or not. And you know my stance on this. If there was no Premier League title come the end of the season, that's a sackable offence, right? And then, so Darkside's point is that they don't care about trophies. And he's right. They don't necessarily care about trophies. The Cronkies are known for bringing stability. right? Financial stability, particularly, right? And so part of that in their model is that they would like to have consistency. Consistency equals their stability, right? So having someone like Arteta, who is maintaining top 2 or top 3 or whatever, competitive in the cups, competitive in the Champions League and all that type of stuff, is satisfactory enough for the Cronkies. It's enough to be attractive for players to want to sign for the club or to be able to attract good players, which in turn creates more financial revenue, right? So that's what Darkside is saying, right? And Darkside isn't the biggest Arteta fan anyway, but that's not the point of what he's saying here. What he's saying here, my understanding anyway, please feel free to correct me, my friend, is that the Cronkies' first mindset is how can we bring stability and how can we make our business profitable, which is a standard business mindset. And there's a reason why they are billionaires, right? But that doesn't necessarily satisfy the immediate needs of the passion of the fans, because financial stability doesn't necessarily equal trophies and the desires of the fan base. And you're seeing that with Chelsea right now. 20 years ago, their financial input created trophies for Arsenal and for Chelsea, and that should be doing the same for Arsenal right now. It just hasn't happened yet. And if it does, great, right? But at the moment, it's still an if and but story. And so it's probably a little bit premature to be offering a manager a new contract when there hasn't been the silverware in the outcome bracket, right? Or that's what a lot of fans would feel. And I think that's a reasonable way to feel. There are other fans who will feel quite happy with Arteta. And again, they will have their justifications. I don't dislike Arteta. I don't dislike him. And I like what he's done for the club over the last 7 years. But there has to come a point where you look at it and go, are we going to get there? And if that's not going to happen, then that's when those conversations need to be happening, which is why I've said no Premier League trophy has to be at least, is a sackable offence, I think, this year. And I think that's reasonable. Big up Boring Bob. Also big up the coffee shop chat. Maybe I should, maybe I need a coffee shop name. What should we call our chat? The chat needs a name. What can the coffee shop chat be called? But it's good to see you, Gunnar. And thank you for being here, my friend. Hit me up with some of your thoughts, and let's get the conversation going. And David, this chat does have some good vibes, I think. But let me know what you think about that. Do you think I'm being overly objective, or am I leaning towards sort of like sitting on the fence? Like, I don't know. Like, I try to be reasonable, but it's hard sometimes because I want my team to be successful. But then the Cronkies aren't Arsenal fans. And that's the hard part, isn't it? When you had like David Dean, for example, he was Arsenal through and through. And so you got a very different experience. But now with the way that football has gone in England, money has just blown everything up. And so because of that, people want to make more money. If you've got a Sky that's paying billions to be able to broadcast games, then that becomes the priority over everything else, doesn't it? I don't know. I'm probably tying myself in knots if I'm being completely honest, but I think I'm on some sort of wavelength with you guys. The other thing that I thought was quite good today, and it's quite funny because it's Anne Hathaway as well, but it's been 20 years since The Devil Wears Prada came out. And it was 20 years ago that Arsenal were in a Champions League final. And now it's 20 years later and the second Devil Wears Prada is coming out. And Arsenal were in their second Champions League final. Like, I don't know. I like these coincidences. I also love it that it's Devil Wears Prada and it's Anne Hathaway and she absolutely loves Trossard and Arsenal. So maybe this is it, guys. Like, maybe the signs are there. The fact that PSG have got through to the final means that Arsenal, despite being the away team, should be allowed to wear their red kit, their home kit, because they have been allocated as the away fixture for the final, which means they would have had to wear yellow, blue, which would have been the away kit, and they had to wear their away kit in the last final, and we lost it, so we might be allowed to wear our home kit in the final because PSG wear blue. Fingers crossed on that. It means we can wear our home kit and we can go in there and get the job done in the final. They're businessmen. They love Arteta and the team for making Arsenal the richest club in England, Sky Sports. That's basically it. And apparently, after this year, I think if everything goes to plan by the end of the season, Arsenal will be the most successful club this year, financially. The richest club this year, financially, for the work they've done and the competitions runs they've had and everything else. So financially, it could be the biggest year in Arsenal's history as well, which is, for the Cronkies is incredible because it's what they would have wanted. It means they'll reinvest to a certain extent, and it also means that they'll be happy with Arteta and he'll be offered a new contract. Listen, and the other thing is I love Anne Hathaway. I love Anne Hathaway. I think there's only a couple female celebrities that I deeply love more than Anne Hathaway. One of them is Natalie Portman. All right. You can fight me on the trenches for Natalie Portman, but when I was 13 and The Phantom Menace came out and she was Queen Amidala, my life changed. All right. And if you don't like it, go tell your mother. All right. But, oh, man. Natalie Portman, Anne Hathaway, top tier stuff. They will, alongside the 100 million. Yeah, exactly. And Arsenal in the Club World Cup now, aren't they, as well? So, the money is just stupid that's coming into this club right now. And the only thing I can think about that is that Arsenal's books are going to look a little bit rough for the last financial year because we didn't sell anyone. So we're going to need that money and potential player sales to be able to offset the spend. So that could be a positive too. The chat should be the Brewers. I need something that can give me a bit of Arsenal flair. The Brewers, the coffee Brewers. Give me something that can be Arsenal and I'll have it. Brewers. Hit me up. Keep thinking, Green Rican. Good to see the joy lasted long about Arsenal reaching the final. Then journalists break rumours about Arteta contract. 100%. That couldn't have been more. That couldn't have been better time. That was clearly a play. They knew it wouldn't have been good to announce. I think it was leaked when Arsenal were doing poorly and people were pissed. And now that Arsenal are doing better again, it's like, okay, maybe we can just sort of start dripping that out into the media again. That we're looking at giving Arteta a new contract. That seems to be a right play. I just wanted, before I move on from the Champions League for a little bit, I just wanted to talk very quickly about Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. So Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, along with many other sort of pundits this past week, have said that Arsenal celebrations were premature, over the top, and blah blah blah. I would just like to shout to make the comparison that PSG did exactly the same thing last year when they made the final in their semi-final. And they did it to Arsenal, of course. So I think balance needs to be given here. And why are we policing teams celebrating? The one thing I would say is if a team is overtly celebrating going into a Champions League with tifos and fireworks and fans out the front with their flares to show how much they are behind the team, to me, that tells me that there is a synergy between the squad and the fans. And that's a beautiful thing. And with the fact that the club are willing to do that as well and make it a big thing for those fans and for those players means that there is a connectedness. And if you don't like it, that's your club's problem because you aren't as connected to your club as Arsenal fans are to theirs. And I think you can see that with the way that the mainstream media is basically rolling its checks from Arsenal impressions and Arsenal related media and content. That's just my feeling. People hate Arsenal. It's okay. I hope it keeps them up. I think it does. Funny part is if you didn't celebrate, you'd still get criticised. Yeah, why are they being so nonchalant? Look at the hate Elise gets for being so chilled all the time. It's just dumb. It's so dumb. Just a quick one about the Arsenal ladies then. Oh, God, they've shit the bed in the last week, haven't they? I mean, look, the semi-final was probably a little bit harsh. I think they were harshly treated by the ref, and some of the decisions I thought were particularly poor. But then they go away to Brighton and draw, and basically means that Man City have won the WSL. It's numerically impossible now for Arsenal to chase them down despite the game in hands. Super disappointed because I think that they were capable, and it's just going to be a bit of a whimper out now for the end of their season, isn't it? There's lots of players out of contract. There's a few of them that are going to leave. Sadly, a few of them are going to go to City, I think, as well, Beth Mead included. You've got to think that that's going to happen with the Miedema links or her relationship with Miedema. And I think it's a pretty sad end to the season, and potentially a bit of an end of an era for some of those for that particular team, because we're going to be losing so many. I know what's coming in is quite exciting, but what's leaving is also quite sad, and I just think that the end of the season has been a real fall off for the Arsenal ladies, and it's a shame, because there was more there for them, and they just didn't quite. I mean, I don't think they bottled the semi-final, but I think there's a chance they kind of choked a little bit on chasing down the league, because they could have done, and off their 4 remaining fixtures, they could have taken all 12 as well, which is, I just think, a real shame. Chris, I would let them celebrate. I wouldn't go over the top celebrating, but each their own. It's not against rules. Yeah, man. Like, Arsenal haven't made a final in 20 years. Last time we made a final, Devil Wears Prada 1 was coming out. That's how long ago it was. How long Arsenal can get back them celebrate something and be perfect for you if you don't get egg on your face. The thing is with that is I don't really care about the egg on the face. I don't really care about that, because what would be the point at all then of being excited about anything ever? Arsenal made a Champions League final. I'm excited about it. I'm going to give people high fives. I'm going to talk about it on stream. I don't care. Fireworks are great because it gets me buzzing and all excited and stuff. But I don't think there's any Arsenal fan that's kidding themselves that they're still in a final. I believe Arsenal can win it. But I can also acknowledge that Arsenal could definitely lose the final as well. So I just think, who cares? Who cares? It's this policing of other fan bases and whatever that I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'm still celebrating. I like to take my shirt off at work and fling it around in the air. We'll just be careful of that. You might have HR on you. We did the same thing in Barcelona comeback. Exactly. Live your best life, mate. Live your best life. You have to enjoy the moments in life. Yeah, because otherwise all you're doing is just waiting for the next disappointment. All you are doing is waiting for the next disappointment. No, mate, I'm not doing that. I'm going to live it and I'm going to enjoy it. Actually, this is a perfect comment. Thank you, Dave, because it segues me very nicely. The punch Arteta in the face comment from ESPN. What a shambles. At what point would you just like to punch Arteta in the face? I mean, for God's sake. That's not even hiding an agenda, is it? That's not even hiding it. I'm fully aware that Arteta rubs people up the wrong way. But you're basically encouraging violence on an international broadcasting station. That's crazy. I never liked Alex Ferguson as a manager. I respected him, but I never liked him. I'd be so frustrated when he'd wave his hands in the air and the way he'd chew gum. Stuff about him just annoyed me. Fergie time. Refusing to do interviews for the BBC. Get over yourself. Right? But Jesus Christ, I was never thinking, I'd like to chin him. For God's sake, it's embarrassing. It's so bad. Guys, we need to talk about the mainstream. We need to talk about the mainstream media, and I'm putting Goldbridge in that as well now, because he's been bought out by Gary Neville and he's basically a mouthpiece for all of that. The mainstream media is an absolute shambles. Sky is a shambles. ESPN is a shambles. TalkSport is a shambles. We should be boycotting TalkSport. We should be boycotting TalkSport. Mark Goldbridge was you could literally see the light switch of him changing as soon as he was bought out by Gary Neville, and now Arsenal are annoying again. For crying out loud. And people will say, maybe you're overreacting, there isn't an agenda. It's hard not to feel like there isn't an agenda. And part of it is, I do think Arsenal fans do bring it on themselves as well. I do think Arsenal fans bring it on themselves, but this is how I think Arsenal fans bring it on themselves. Some Arsenal fans are so desperate to defend the club, right, that they'll ring into TalkSport and they just give TalkSport more sound bites. They give them more impressions because they're ringing up angry. Yesterday or whenever it was, and the guy rang in and was giving it to Abonga No Clue. And Shaban had to come in and fight the battle for him by gaslighting the ringer in. Arsenal fans are so desperate to do these things that they will ring in and then feed the beast by giving them more content, by giving them more impressions, by giving them more justification and picking Arsenal apart. If Arsenal fans, or any fan who doesn't like TalkSport, not just Arsenal fans, but Arsenal, it feels like to me that Arsenal is spoken about more than any other team in the whole of the Football League. And it's not even close, right? That's how I feel. I feel like, how are we going to make money this month? Arsenal. If Arsenal fans started, blocking or unfollowing TalkSport, if they start to listen to him on the radio, shout out to Track Radio, by the way, loving that, it would be a start. It's not going to stop 2.3 million followers on Twitter, is it? But it's a start, because all we do is just soak in the agenda, and we get more riled and more angry and more defensive as a consequence. We are our own worst enemy when it comes to that. And so, and they're laughing all the way to the bank. They don't care. They literally don't care. There's a reason why they keep doing it. It's because we keep ringing in and we keep defending our team. And there are people on there that are great. Yeah, I love Darren Bent, right? But I also love Martin Keown. He can err on the side of too much bias, but the good is outweighed by the bad. The good is outweighed by the. You've got a Bong Lahore, such a hater. Awful presenter as well. Jamie O'Hara, Jason Cundy, Adrian Durham, right? And that's without even trying, without some of the other speakers they get on. And we just consume the media, and we're consuming their time, and time is money. We're taking time to reply to them on X. And so we're just feeding that beast. And it's so frustrating, because it's so hard not to be triggered, but then we're just putting back in and they're getting out for it. And we're creating we're our own worst enemy when it comes to it. And it drives me mad, because all I want to do is just try and fight the good fight. And actually I'm just adding to the Arsenal against me, pun intended. Let me jump back in, because I massively sidetracked there. I apologise. Arsenal wouldn't have won the WSL because Man City away to West Ham in the final, and they aren't that good. Okay, so it would have been a case of live and hope. Okay, fair enough. I think you said that before, actually. My bad. Dan Thomas' apology wasn't even an apology. He should be attacked for being so unprofessional. It won't happen, mate. It won't happen. It's not going to happen. I like Darren Bent on Twitter. We talked about that. Abong Nolor. He's so bad. He is so bad, and it annoys me, because they get on these ex players, and they're not good. They're not good. I mean, and the reason why they get them on is exactly for the reason why I'm complaining, right? It's because it's like, well, we'll have someone like Jamie O'Hara because he gets people to ring in, and that's what's happening. I mean, yeah, O'Hara's another one. Oh, don't worry, with De Zerbi, I think we've got a squad that can challenge for the Champions League next season. No, mate, you're fighting for top table. Focus on getting to the top of the table first. Mainstream media has become a sill for all clubs. Call-in shows on the radio only take certain callers that agree with them, or will create clicks. Or will create clicks. And that's I'm not a mouthpiece for this other radio station that's popped up, but it's nice to have something different where I feel like I'm just getting information and a little bit of subjectivity and music. But I'm just so over talk. I'm just so over TalkSport, man. It's just so frustrating, and it's a shame, because the principle is awesome, but it's just not going to be. And it won't be anymore. Anyway, let me just quickly shout out about the bus parade. There's been a lot of people that have been upset about the bus parade. So Arsenal's bus parade, and it might be premeditative, but you have to plan for these things, right? Because otherwise you're doing it in the final 24 hours, has been scheduled for the 31st of May. There's a lot of fans upset about it, because the Champions League final was on the 30th of May. So there's lots of fans saying, well, fans won't get back to see the parade. In principle, I get it, right? And I had a fallout with this guy on X yesterday about it, because he was saying, this is, what about the fans? And this is out of order. They're not going to have time, whatever, right? They have to fly out on the 1st of June to meet up with their national teams. So that day is literally the slot where they can do their parade if Arsenal are going to win anything. So, there's a lot of like outroar about it, but actually, Arsenal's hands are kind of tied. They're in the Champions League final. If they weren't in the Champions League final, they would have done it on the Saturday, I'm sure, right, or whatever. But the reality is, the players have got to go to the international break. They might have a couple of days in between where they're not training or anything, but they have to meet up with their teams. And so I just think that, I think some Arsenal fans are being a little bit unreasonable in terms of what they're hoping to get or what they're hoping to achieve, because what else can they do? I stopped listening to TalkSport a while ago. You could tell they were going weird. Yeah, they've tried to basically keep up with the way that social media is being used, and they just turn themselves into they've turned themselves into a parody of themselves. It's a shame. Have the tickets to the Champions League final watch along at the Emirates gone out? I don't know. I'm desperate to get them, so I hope not, because I actually think they're not selling out the ground either. So I think they're only going to sell like something like 12 or 20,000 tickets. So if you want them, you've got to get them, And the only reason I can think of why this might be happening and not selling out the whole stadium was when I was there last time for this. I went to watch along for the FA Cup final, and Arsenal won it, and the fans stormed the pitch. So that's the only reason I can think of why they might be doing 12,000 instead of more. And I also think, if I remember correctly, I only think it was one side. So they had this massive screen up, but it was only one side, so you wasn't on the other side, I think. So there might be that as well. But yeah, I don't think they're looking to sell out the stadium. So I think it might be between 12 and 20,000 tickets. So when they go on sale, they're gonna go. So just be ready, and then hopefully you won't miss out, my friend. Yes, and then just one more thing to finish up. Like I said, I didn't actually intend to go on for 40 minutes. Sorry about that, but the ESPN thing really pissed me off. I am going to be on a stream later. I'm doing a stream at 1:00 with my friend Adam of the Dad's Our Job podcast, or the Dad's Our Job TV. This is a personal one for me because Adam and I are basically neighbours, and the Dodge Pod, Dad's Our Job podcast, is where we originally started out together, and we were doing weekly videos together. But there was just too much going on. So we were doing like family life, we were doing Arsenal, we were doing West Ham, and the identity just wasn't very clear. And so it wasn't doing as well as we would have hoped. So we kind of put a stop to it in January. In February, I was like, I'm missing doing this. I'm going to set up again. And then he's recently just set up again as well, talking primarily about West Ham. So we're going to be sharing a little pod later on at 1:00. Online on stream. Sorry, I'll be streaming it from 1:00 on my channel. So you guys are obviously welcome to come along and watch that at 1:00. It's only going to be about a 20 minutes, half an hour video, but it'll just be us talking about the West Ham game and what we think might happen and what the outcome could be and what that could mean for West Ham or for Arsenal. So it'd be great to see you guys there if you can be there. Can you put a link in the chat for it, for the Arsenal, for the for the watch the screen? I don't know if there's anything going on about it yet. Arsenal Champions League final screening. There's no new information, mate. I'll put this in here. If it will let me. I don't know if it will. Let me just see if I can do that. Oh, right. David, it's just on my it's already scheduled. So if you look at my live, it's already scheduled. So it'll be the next video along. So you'll be able to access it the same way. Let me just see if I can put it in here for you though. Just go on YouTube. Let's have a look. Live. Yeah, okay, let me just share this. Share. Copy. I don't know if it will go in here, mate, but I'll try. I've never done it before. Okay. Oh, you can add link to future videos? I have no idea how to do that. Oh, right, like a referral link? No? Oh, right, no, that's not it. Okay, I don't know what to do. I'm still trying to work out how to use StreamYard, but this is that's the link for later. But like I said, it's just the next video along on my live, so it's scheduled, so you should be able to see it there. But that's at 1 o'clock, and we're just gonna have a little chat about West Ham and Arsenal. Predicted. Oh, I've done it correctly, did I? Okay, great. Brilliant. But yeah, so just come along. Feel free to give him a hard time, but he is a little bit sensitive, I can't lie, because he is of the opinion if West Ham go down, they won't be coming up very soon at all. So he's a little bit sensitive. But yeah, listen, I'm going to wrap up there because I'm going to be on a little bit later. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video, get it up, and so I can help get it out there. And I will see you in a couple of hours if you can be there. Take care, guys.